Ciao and welcome. Today I will be cooking Pollo alla Siciliana. This is a traditional chicken with aubergine dish, and although it isn't a Christmas dish, as I've got all the decorations up, I thought I'll turn them on anyway, keep in the spirit. And it'd be interesting to know if you've had something in the past or indeed something similar, but if you haven't, hopefully you will like this recipe. And I'll start with the aubergines. I will be using a bread knife. I always try and use a bread knife whenever I cut vegetables like aubergines or potatoes. They are far safer than anything else, although they are quite vicious, so be careful. But if you use a normal knife, clearly not a problem, but they are likely to be more slippery, whereas with a bread knife you can get hold of the teeth and off you go. And I'm cutting them into slices first, and then I will be doing some little soldiers just like this, and then I'll chop them into cubes approximately 1 centimeter. Having chopped them up, I'm now moving into a large bowl, and I'm adding a little salt, enough to make them sweat and release some of the water. In the past they used to also put salt on aubergines to remove their bitterness, but nowadays aubergines do not need that. The reason why I'm putting the salt is because I want to release some of the water so that the moisture gets out, and they will cook better, and also they will absorb less oil. And I'll give them a little mix, and I'll leave them for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'll prep my chicken, and I'll start by putting a little oil in a pan. And I'll be cooking chicken thighs today. You can also use chicken legs or artificial even chicken wings if you like, but I think the chicken thighs for this particular recipe are ideal. And I'll start by browning them with the skin side down first. I'm now turning my chicken round, and I want to make sure that it's browned all over. Make sure that you do that because it's a really important step. Not only you're locking in the moisture from the chicken and the juices inside the thighs, but also you'll be creating a beautiful base that will give a lot of flavor to the dish. So do take your time and do it properly, because it's definitely worthwhile. And also temperature wise, keep it on a medium high. Make sure that you do not burn the base either. So while the chicken sizzles, I'll prepare some garlic. I'll be using 3 cloves of garlic, and I'll just remove the head and the bum from each clove like this. And I'll go along, and skin included, I'll crush each piece like that, and they're ready for later. And I'm now peeling off a couple of small onions. You can also use a medium or a large onion. These are the last 2 from Julie's vegetable patch. Actually, I think I'll go another couple, so I'm using them up. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I didn't cut myself cooking. I was doing some DIY work at my son's place today, and somehow I managed to cut. I don't even know how I did it. And I'll chop these 2 little onions in small pieces. Something like this will be perfect. And then they can go with the garlic. After a good 10 minutes, my chicken is golden all over, I've done the sides as well. So I will remove it and place it in a separate plate for the time being. And if you look, this is what I was talking about. It's giving me a lovely base ready for my vegetables. So onion and garlic goes in, and I'll mix them together, and I'll leave them to sizzle for a couple of minutes on their own. And now that everything is browned up a little, I'll add my aubergines. I'll mix everything together so that the aubergines absorb some of the lovely base. I'll place the lid on, and I'll leave it on for a good 5 minutes, and the steam will also accelerate the cooking process for the aubergines. In the meantime, I'm prepping a pepper, and you will find that in many Sicilian dishes where there is aubergine, there is also pepper, but it is optional in this case. However, I will be removing all of this white stuff and the seeds because they are quite bitter and also very difficult to digest, so all you want is really the pepper. It doesn't matter the color, you can use red or green, yellow, but I've opted for red pepper because it will add a lovely vibrant color to the dish. And I'm cutting it now in long strips, just like this, but you can chop in little squares if you like. There isn't a rule really. And let's take a look. Oh, smells good already, and I'll give it another mix. And actually this is a good time to add my peppers now. See this little base here? That is wonderful. It's all the caramelized chicken, and once I add the tomato sauce in a moment, it will dissolve and it will release a lot of flavor. Wonderful. Talking of which, I will be using a tin of chopped tomatoes. This is 400 grams, and I will add it immediately now. followed by some tomato puree. This is about 1 tablespoon. So the combination of the tomato puree, which is really concentrated, and the tin of tomatoes will be ideal because one is sweeter than the other, but also the concentrated stuff will give enhanced flavor. And I'll put the lid on for about 2 to 3 minutes, enough for the vegetables to combine together. Excellent, let's take a look. Excellent, looking very good. At this point I will add 1 tablespoon of capers, followed by a few chili flakes. Optional, if you don't like them, don't put them in. I'm only putting a few in because Julie is not very keen, but we compromise. And also a little oregano, again quantities to taste, but I'm putting maybe about 1/4 teaspoon. The chili flakes will provide a little bit of heat to the dish, but the oregano will give you that lovely Sicilian flavor. And I think it's looking ready now for my chicken. And I'll add it on top of my vegetables, one by one. Maybe I'll put one in the middle as well. And I've got some juice here which is being released by the chicken. I'll add that as well. And before I cover it up, I will add some olives. These are olives which I keep in olive oil. Quantities to taste, but I will be putting 4 spoons heaped. Maybe 5, there you go. Both Julie and I love olives. Mine are a combination of black and green olives. You can use just green olives, just black olives, or like me, a combo of both. And I'm making sure now that everything is mixed well together so that the chicken is covered in all of those flavors as well. And I'll turn the temperature down on to low now. I'll place the lid on and I'll leave it to simmer for 25 minutes. I know it might look like it's a long time, but the chicken will need its time to cook, but also the slow cooking process will allow all of the flavors to come together, and the sauce will give you a little bit of cream without having to add any flour or anything else. So just take your time and you will not regret it. So I'll see you in about half an hour. And we are ready, 25 minutes on and everything is cooked. If you look, the aubergines are lovely and soft, peppers are cooked and everything smells wonderful. You'll have noticed that I didn't add any more salt rather than what I added to the aubergines. Also the capers are quite salty, so I'm not going to be adding any more salt, but I will put a little pepper on top of everything. And to really enhance the Sicilian flavor, I will be adding some fresh basil and also some parsley. You can do either, or you can do either the basil or the parsley, or combined like I'm doing tonight. I'm adding them at the end, as I often say, because they will release a beautiful and delicious flavor. But I will mix everything together first. And I'll put the lid on just for 1 more minute to give the herbs the chance to amalgamate themselves with all of the other ingredients. And we're nearly ready now. So one very last ingredient, and that is optional, but it's necessary in my case. I'll sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese. Actually, this is not Parmesan, it's Grana Padano, which is very similar to Parmesan. But also, if you like, you can use Pecorino, entirely up to you, or no cheese at all. But if you like cheese, I fully recommend it. Also, this sort of dish, as it will continue to infuse itself, it will taste better the day after you made it. So if you were better than me at planning, you could cook it the day before and then reheat it the day after, and it will release even more flavors because clearly everything will have combined even more overnight. But we are not going to be eating all of this today, so I will have some tomorrow as well. And you can pair this with some potatoes, or with some polenta if you like, or indeed some rice, or just a salad. In our case tonight, we're just gonna have some bread. This is olive bread, and that will be lovely as we mop up the juices. Maybe if you make it, you can let me know how you eat yours. And everything is really well balanced and cooked, and the smell is delicious. I'm going to have a little and then I'll go. Perfetto. It's incredible because these are the sort of ingredients that you can get hold of anywhere in the world, and even if you're not in Sicily, the way you cook them and the way you really do it very long and slow, It tastes just like it would taste in Sicily, and I'm really pleased with it. If you make it and you opt with any variations, let me know what you do. It'd be interesting to hear, and definitely try it. It's really good. Thank you for watching, buon appetito and arrivederci. Ciao!